We appreciate you watching and listening to The Dead Jeff Show. Please like and subscribe and tune in for more videos. It's a great day to be alive on The Dead Jeff Show. Welcome in, everybody. Yes, I'm showing off my hoodie that my daughter bought me for Christmas. It's a one-of-one Dead Jeff Show hoodie, so y'all can be jealous out there, and at least you two will be jealous. I don't know about everybody out there.
Well, my name's not Jeff, so I'm not going to be jealous.
But it's the Dead Jeff Show, though. That's the logo. So welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'm Jeff. That's Nick, and he's the Maestro Luke. We appreciate you joining us on this beautiful, beautiful evening. For us, anyway. Not for you guys whenever you're listening to this. So, all right, man, speaking of a beautiful evening, what a weekend of football. You know, just as a fan of sports, the college football playoffs, the NFL playoffs, it's like a second Christmas around here.
Yeah, it's the NFL playoffs. If ever there needed to be like a showcase for parody, let's just talk about, the first 3 games, or however many I can't even keep count because of college football playoffs and all that stuff. But yeah, the parody in the NFL is awesome. And just also being able to sit back and watch these games when you don't really have a vested interest in them in terms of like a rooting favorite. If it ain't the Cowboys, I like players kind of like the Maestro, but I'm not going to root for a team outside of the Cowboys. So when the games are this competitive and that compelling, man, it's a lot of fun. It makes these games so entertaining. So I've been really happy with this week the week of sports has been really phenomenal.
Well, the question is, have you left your couch? I mean, that's the thing I'm worried about. I'm worried about spending too much time on the couch. I mean, the college football playoffs, this is the first time they've gone this deep, I believe, and interfering with the NFL playoffs. It's kind of a beautiful merge. So have you left your couch? Did you get
Bro,
out and see the sunshine?
Y'all have a walking pad. I don't know why you don't just whip that thing out and start walking on the walking pad and watch all the games, Dad. Think about how many hours of the walking pad you could be doing.
I like to go out in nature, son. I don't want to walk while I'm watching football, though it's
Well,
not a bad idea.
You can do it on your phone then. You can watch the game on your phone and take a walk around the park.
And that's what I did.
I don't know. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You did that, Nick?
Took a walk around the cul-de-sac. Did laps around the cul-de-sac with my phone, watching the game.
I'm not a walking pad guy. Matter of fact, I think I'm supposed to give our walking pad to Alan Morgan. So shout out to Alan Morgan. I haven't forgotten. But I don't like treadmills. If I'm going to do cardio on a stationary thing, it's got to be a bike or a rower. But I like walking or running outside. So yeah, the sunshine, man. It's been beautiful here in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. Yeah. It's not like January weather. Got a little cold last night, but man, it's been beautiful. And today we did a little cookout and had some family over, and we enjoyed the nice, beautiful weather. So we've been, staying off the couch a little bit, and I hope you are too. Hope your New Year's resolutions haven't crashed out too bad.
Not yet.
Well, I haven't started mine, so I'm still in good shape.
You got a couple months to go, though. We learned you wait till about March, so you're good. You're probably right on pace.
He waits for everyone else to stop. Yeah. He wants everyone to quit first, and then he'll start. So
it's an interesting strategy.
I've always been like that because I just think back to when I played soccer as a kid, and I would wait for the ball just to pop out of the pile of people and just go score a goal.
That's
great dirty work.
That's a great move in Little League soccer, man. That's pro moves in Little League soccer.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it is, but you got to be fast to do that, and luckily he was. Yeah. Now, soccer, that might be something we need to add to the show. I think I sent you some footage via Instagram of Real Madrid's practice. Did you enjoy that video that I sent you?
Yeah, that was pretty gnarly. But what I will say, it led me to from there, and the rare Premier League / European football. I did get to see after that, because the algorithm will then immediately start suggesting other stuff like it. And so right after that clip, I saw Wrexham winning their FA Cup game.
Yeah.
against the first time they beat a Premier League club since 1999 or something like that.
And Man City won 10-1.
Yep.
I hope you saw that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I saw the final, but I didn't see the highlights.
What about the big upset? The big upset in FA Cup. Now I just drawn a blank. Was it Crystal Palace? No, who was it? Maestro that lost to a very low level team. It was like a shock. Did you not see this?
Mm-mm.
I'm surprised the algorithm didn't show you this.
No, I got a lot of Wrexham.
Oh, Brighton beat Man United. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the FA Cup where it was hold on a second.
No, he's talking about Macclesfield beats Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, that's what I said. Yeah, they beat them 2-1, I think it was. Or
okay,
2-0.
Crystal Palace, it's not like they're not a powerhouse, so it's not that big.
But they're a Premier League team.
Macclesfield currently
Crystal Palace.
It currently sits 117 clubs below Crystal Palace in the English football pyramid. That would be like the Buffalo Bills losing to like DeSoto or something.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like legitimately, that's what it would be like.
Yeah, don't be downplaying it, Luke. This was a huge deal. I don't think it's ever happened in FA Cup history. So
how can it? There's no way. One of Crystal Palace's
because go ahead.
I was gonna say
you guys talking over each other. Yes. Y'all need to get it together here, okay?
I didn't see this. That's a big. You're right. That is a big story. One of Crystal Palace's players probably costs more than the stadium that team plays in, let alone the players.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say normally in the FA Cup you don't have Crystal Palace because they're always getting relegated, so that's why that never happens because you always have top tier teams playing.
Crystal Palace fans coming after you, bro. I'm just telling you right now, they're rabid over there. You better be careful.
Well, here's what I'll say. Mate. Here's what I'll say. I love some Premier League. My team is Man City. I follow Leeds United as well. That's from my friend Alan. And Alan O'Neill, not Alan Morgan. But so that's a little bonus Premier League talk. Maybe we'll add a Premier League segment moving forward on our show.
Another new segment needs to be how many friends do you have named Alan? I mean, that's insane.
And that is true. I think I have 4 that I know of. So just off the top of my head. So if you're a friend of mine and your name is Alan, shout out to you. All right. So let's get into it, guys. Listen, lots to talk about here, lots to unpack. Listen, I want to thank the Maestro for getting all of our clips out every week and for all the fan, interacting, and some people calling us stupid, some people calling us geniuses. So we're probably somewhere in between that. So we appreciate the love, and a little bit of the hate. It makes us laugh. So, but let's talk about the college football playoffs. Now, look, you guys know I'm an Indiana fan. It's obvious, right? There's the helmet. There's my hat. I've been an Indiana fan, primarily basketball because football has sucked my whole life. There'd be a year every now and then where we would do decent. But man, I know we talked last podcast about Oregon being a tough match, and Luke says Signetti wants to blow him out. Well, that's what happened. It was a massacre. Indiana beats Oregon 56-22. And Nick, I'm sorry about your Ducks. I'm sorry about those whack, yellow and green uniforms looking so beautiful as they lost. But just a few things on this game I want to talk about. It started off with Pons getting a pick 6, D'Angelo Pons. And then Oregon and Moore bounced back rather nicely and go on a long drive and score a touchdown. So you thought, okay, maybe this is a game. Signetti said, we ain't having it, right? And Mendoza, again, has more touchdown passes than incompletions. And this is incredible. For the whole college football playoffs, he has more touchdowns than incompletions. He went 17 out of 20 for 177 yards and 5 touchdowns. The reason he only had 177 yards passing is because we had 185 yards rushing to go along with those passing yards. And what a complete physical domination by Signetti and the Hoosiers. And I need to say something here. Well, first of all, give me your reactions to the game. I'll go into this Signetti point in a second, but what were your reactions watching this in real time? I know you were texting me, Nick, and you were a little sad, but you knew it was coming. You knew you were being taken to the woodshed.
Yeah, so I think what I hoped was that Oregon would find a way to keep it close, right? I think that was my hope, and I had a couple of different people text me about 30 minutes before kickoff about the spread because the spread moved right toward the end of the game or right before kickoff, and Oregon was getting a couple more points than what we had talked about earlier in the week. And I will say, those of you that have been kind of reaching out to me individually, right now, there's no, you know, there's no juice on these picks, but eventually I'm coming for some juice. Just a little bit. If we're gonna keep making a bunch of money. But no, they and I said stay don't do it. I said if you're gonna
Wait, what does that mean? Wait, what does it mean you're coming for some juice?
Yeah,
You're
so
You're
gonna have to
making money? I thought
explain.
it was moral. I thought it was moral. You're
What
making
is-
money now?
no, juice. Juice mean like orange juice, apple juice, cranberry juice. If they're gonna come to me for bets, no, now what some people would mean when they say juice, this isn't me, but what some people would mean is if you're gonna pick a bet and you're gonna bet $50, $60, well, your return's got a little juice on it, right? You got a little extra. So that juice has to flow down to the people helping you. Now, I'm just talking about my beverages of
Oh,
choice in the morning.
okay.
I just want someone to give me some apple juice. I've never talked.
You need a royalty. You need a royalty. That's what you mean.
Do you
That's what
brush
you're
your
talking about.
teeth? Do you brush your teeth before or after you drink that juice?
It depends on
Are you a
What?
before?
depends on how
Yeah.
full that cup is, Maestro. It depends on how full the cup is. But look, so I had a couple people reach out to me and just say, "Hey, what do you think about the game?" And I said, "If you're gonna bet anything, bet Indiana to cover. Do not bet Oregon. Like you would be foolish to bet Oregon here."
Even though you picked Oregon to win.
Yeah,
well,
what?
the pick was with my heart, right? Like me wanting
Oh,
Oregon to
okay.
win was with my heart. The bet will never be with. Fortunately, and I feel so blessed that this is the case. I am someone that can very easily separate my heart from the moral bets that we make here. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, some wonder if you actually have emotions, Nick. Some wonder that.
That's fair. That's fair. But here's my takeaway from the game because this was only the now third time that I've watched Indiana play a full game all year. I watched the first Indiana game and I watched the first playoff game. This team, when I hear Kurt Cignetti talk, which by the way, one of my favorite coach interviews out there is Cignetti. This dude's got basically zero filter. If there's like a Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott right thing to say coach in an interview, there's the Cignetti literally on the way other side of that coin. This dude is just his team takes on that personality. They play that way. They play nasty. They're physical. It's old school. Like, I mean, it's hard not to enjoy just watching that team fly around the ball and fly around the field. So as much as I hated watching Oregon go down, Indiana is just a lot of fun to watch, man. They really are.
Yeah, a complete team.
Yep.
A complete team, and I think it's not just it's hard to when you think about the way this team was constructed, and I want to get in that in a minute. But Luke, first tell us your thoughts about the game.
Well, I knew they were blowing them out, so that's not surprising to me. But the biggest takeaway I had was I've seen it kind of going around, but this is the second time that Oregon's been blown out in the playoffs because they just got blown out by Ohio State, who's in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's gonna happen there. Like I don't know. I don't know how many. I mean, I know Dan Lanning's a good coach and everything, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a fair
But
question.
that's really like the biggest takeaway I took from it.
Well, and here's what I'll say about the construction of Indiana's team. So it's he came from James Madison. He brought a lot of recruits with him. He went to the transfer portal. But here's the real secret. Here's what Cignetti's figured out, and maybe a few others. In Miami, they have a little bit older roster too. I think because Carson Beck playing his 15th year of
We'll
college
get into
football.
that later.
But I'll tell you this. The average age on Indiana's team is about 23 years old. It's 22 and a half, just more than that, which means they're playing grown man football.
Uh-huh.
That means you got 22, 23-year-olds going against 18 and 19-year-olds. And you might not think that's a big deal, but it is a huge deal when it comes to physicality. And I think that the other thing is, so Cignetti's, that's his formula. That's what he's doing. And he said that he goes in the portal and looks for production over, what do you say? Production over
Prestige.
potential and prestige. He doesn't go for 4 or 5 star guys who haven't produced.
Yep.
he'll go for the 2 and 3 stars that have produced at a higher level and
yeah.
outproduced their potential. So I really like that mindset. But the thing is, the thing that he does well is he's brought them all together, and they really love playing for each other. I almost said with each other, but taken out of context, that might be funny. But anyway, but they've just really gelled. And you texted me something during the game. It said team of destiny.
Yeah.
Sounds like looks like Indiana's a team of destiny. And I've never heard that in my life said about Indiana football.
Never.
But I sure am glad, and I'm really enjoying this year. And it's not over. We got one more game left. But Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers finding a new way to do it with the NIL and the transfer portal. And I'm really impressed that they've been able to do this and gel so quickly and so awesomely together.
Yeah, it's you sent the amount of like 4-star and 5-star recruits still on these Final Four teams, and so I just independently went and looked at just when the 12 teams that started the playoff, how many 4 and 5-star recruits everyone had, and then some of the teams that missed it, like Texas, like A&M, so BYU, Utah. There were some other schools, Colorado, like that have maybe some more 4 and 5-star recruits. But I think to your point, and I wish now that it's so hard to say that college football isn't essentially just a pro sport at this point because of the money that these kids are making. I wish that they would, and I'm sure they will at some point, but I wish they would make it to where these salary cap figures, so to speak, and not that there's a salary cap, but like the amount of money that's being spent is going to become public, or at least a little more public, only because I think that would then add another layer to how impressive it is of what Indiana is doing, because I highly doubt that maybe other than Mendoza, but even then, like, at the time that Mendoza went over, probably wasn't like a super high, hey, we got to pay this dude the Carson Beck type money. Because what I read was Beck got way more money than he would have gotten as a first round pick going from Georgia to Miami. So,
Of course. Yeah.
So I think, that's another component, right? He's obviously not overspending for talent, to your point. He is getting guys that are grit, they're grind, they're playmakers, not show and go. They're all grit and determination.
Yeah, and the thing is, in perspective, the average age of the Green Bay Packers is 25. So just think about that when you're thinking about Indiana being at 22 and a half, 23 years old. And I think we're going to see this trend continue as long as you just said with the dollars flowing in. I mean, Texas Tech just paid $5 million for their quarterback next year, which, and they were in a bidding war with others to get him. And so you did see Mark Cuban on the field, and he's got big dollars. So maybe Indiana will stay relevant for a longer period of time. But I'll just tell you, the little inner child in me is enjoying this Indiana football run more than I ever thought I would. Number one, I never thought I would live to see this day, but that's how things change. And I will say this about Moore, the quarterback for Oregon. I know people are talking about him being in a the second pick, possibly, maybe even the first pick if you value potential over production, like some do. And early on, you thought maybe he had the pick six, then he had that fumble where the running back knocked it out of his hand, and he could have just put his tent away and went home, right? But he decided to play hard, and he ended up with a decent day, I think, but obviously it was not enough. But kudos to him. But I think that you see the difference in Mendoza and Moore. Mendoza is a little bit more ready. Moore may have long-term more potential. We don't know that, but I'll take the production. I'm like Cignetti. I'll take that production. It sort of reminds you, like you're talking about Carson Beck playing forever. Bo Nix did the same thing, and he's come out in the NFL and done really well.
Yep.
I see Mendoza being a little bit like a Bo Nix, with maybe just a little bit more talent. But shout out to Moore at Oregon, and I love Dan Lanning too. He's a great coach, and he was a class act in the press conference, I thought. But Indiana, man, that philosophy, that's here to stay. And I think with the dollars keep flowing in, it's going to be that way for a while. But proud of the Indiana Hoosiers, proud of Coach Curt Cignetti and all the team. And we got one more. And in the semifinal match was Miami and Ole Miss, and that was a really good game. It came down to the wire. Carson Beck scores with 18 seconds left or something like that. Drives the team down for the game-winning touchdown, and they beat Ole Miss 31-27. I thought it was a hard-fought, even game. And I think the difference was in third down conversions. Miami was 11 of 19 on third down. Ole Miss was 2 of 10. Time of possession was 41 minutes Miami, 19 minutes Ole Miss. How is Ole Miss even in this game when you start looking at those kinds of stats? Well, here's why. Because Miami let them stay in the game. That's why. And yeah, I think the Ole Miss had like 4 field goals. They were getting field goals instead of touchdowns, but they had a chance, to really take this game. And some thought when they scored with, I guess, 3 minutes to go to take the lead that they were going to win it. But man, Carson Beck did lead them on a nice drive. And there's the Maestro putting up the bracket where you see Miami advancing over Ole Miss. They'll take on Indiana in the national championship game. What did you think about Ole Miss losing to Miami?
Yeah, I think, I was cautiously optimistic about Ole Miss actually being able to win the game, but actually for the exact thing that didn't turn out to be true. I thought that because of Ole Miss's, maybe ability to run the ball a little bit, that they may control the time of possession and they may be able to keep Miami's offense off the field. Obviously, that didn't happen. So it was kind of astounding as they kept showing the time of possession throughout the game. Every time they would show it, and I'd look over at the score, I'm like, how in the world is this game even still in question? Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But I think to your point, there was a definite point in the game right in that fourth quarter drive where as Ole Miss was driving, I may have texted you, I'm not sure if it was you or my brother, but I said, I hope that they score here, but they really need to slow down. Like they are moving entirely too fast. And then when they scored the touchdown, I was like, that sucks. Like they left enough time for Miami to bleed the clock, score, and end the game, which is essentially exactly what happened. So, look, credit in the world to Ole Miss for everything that they had going on, and with all the transition and change, and nobody giving them a chance.
Yeah, the coaching situation was rough, right?
Yeah, and it's so the fact that they were 2 minutes away from playing for a national championship is insane, and not sure if you saw, and we might even get to it later in the news with the Maestro, but Chambliss got denied his 6th year of eligibility. So it just, it really sucks, right? It's kind of heartbreaking for them. I'm assuming that they'll still be relevant and they'll still be good, but this was kind of a perfect storm of events for them. So hats off to Ole Miss, but man, Miami, from people kind of mocking them even being in the playoff to now they're in the Natty, and one more to go for Miami. I think Indiana should be the favorite. I think Indiana will win the game, but Miami keeps proving people wrong. So there's just that outside, and I know Signetti won't let them get ahead of themselves, but it
Yeah,
might.
let's not talk about that game just
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. I'm just
Because I
saying.
want to say, shout out to Chambliss at Ole Miss. Man, he came out of nowhere, and I don't know what his NFL future will be if he has one, but he really has helped himself here by the way he's played in these games. And man, they fought hard, and I thought they were going to pull it off. And Miami's defense didn't look as ferocious as we thought they would, and Chambliss just made some really good plays. But I really think what you said there about the coaching situation. I have a question. If they would have won the national championship, I'm assuming Lane Kiffin would have gotten a ring, right? Now, if you're Lane Kiffin and you get this ring, do you ever wear it or put it out? And obviously we don't have to worry about it because they didn't win. But I was thinking that as they were Miami was marching down the field, it's like if they don't score and Ole Miss goes on and wins this thing, does Lane Kiffin get a ring? And if he does, do you proudly display it? What do you do?
Yeah, I don't. He definitely gets the reward, the ring, and not only that, but and I'm not 100% sure on the exact numbers, but I think he got is like 250K for the first 2 rounds. It would have been 500K for the win over Miami, and then another 750 for the national championship win. So not only did he get the ring, but he had some pretty big money on games he had, nothing to be a part of other than obviously it's the team he constructed and so on and so forth. So,
well, we don't have to worry about
yeah,
that because they lost,
right.
and they probably would have lost to Indiana anyway. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can move on now to the national championship game. Anything on the Ole Miss Miami game, Luke? Although you were riding with the U this whole time.
Yeah, I just have to say I never dissed them. I never counted them out. But I don't have them beating Indiana, obviously. I just think Indiana's better constructed, better coached. Just they're going to be ready to play, and they might even blow them out, to be honest.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Because look,
I'm
here's
just
the thing.
being honest.
The game is at the Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah.
Which is the Orange Bowl is the game, right? It's in Miami's backyard, but you saw the Hoosier fans show up in Atlanta. There's like 85% Indiana fans, which that's a disgrace to the Oregon fans to let Indiana get all those tickets. That's crazy. But I hope the same thing happens and that the Orange Bowl at Hard Rock Stadium turns into cream and crimson Indiana home crowd.
I think it might.
Well, I hope it does because we're favored by 7.5, depending on what line you're looking at, I believe. And here's what I'll say. I think Indiana's the more complete team. When you look at the defense, we got from the secondary to the line, we got a stud at linebacker. We got studs on the line. We got, obviously our Pons and our DBs are great. But we have a running game and a quarterback who is just as accurate as I've seen in college. Now, college open and pro open is two different things. So if it translates to the next level, we'll see. But all we need him to do is play this way against Miami, and I think we will win. And we should cover that 7.5. But I'm not going to disrespect Miami like that because they're kind of a team of destiny too. Like I said, their average age on their team is trending a little older, not like Indiana's, but I think that probably is because of Carson Beck mainly. But what I'll say is this does give me a little pause because it's in Florida. It's 20 miles or whatever it is from their campus. And so that does make me pause a little bit. And I'm not going to disrespect the Hurricanes, but I believe Indiana and Coach Kurt Cignetti will get this done.
Yeah,
now you don't want to disrespect them, even though the Ohio State game, you're like,
I learned my lesson.
State. They're playing Ohio State.
I actually didn't pick them against A&M. So I didn't pick them against A&M. So I learned my lesson with the U, and they taught me that lesson. So I'm going to be polite and respectful, but I really think Cignetti and the Hoosiers will bring home the national championship, and I can't believe I really just said that.
So some numbers here for you, just as we kind of roll into this. You were right. The Hoosiers are currently 7.5-point favorites. They opened as 5-point favorites. So the numbers that have been coming in, and obviously as a result of what this looked like, they've picked up a couple of points, and I think by next Monday, which is when the game is, the 19th, this number could even balloon up to 9 or so. So here are another couple of just kind of interesting stats here. When the season started, the Indiana Hoosiers were 150-1 odds to win the national championship. So for those of you math whizzes out there, a $10 bet would have won you $1,500 had you made a $10 bet on Indiana to win the Natty.
That's crazy.
As a 7.5-point favorite over the last 10 seasons, regardless of playoff, bowl games, regular season, just in college football, 7.5-point favorite means you win 75% of the time.
Don't jinx us, man.
Hey,
stop
these
spitting
are
out stats.
These are stats, man. These are just stats. And then the last one that I think will be probably not necessarily even interesting, but I think the amount of times that
it's not going to be interesting. So, but I'm going to bring it up.
I'm going to say it just because it's such a weird stat to even have anyway. But it's ESPN stats and research. 56% of the time that a favorite in a national championship game over the last 20 seasons, they've won 56% of the time. Which is so like just a random.
That's because it's been Nick Saban in Alabama most of the time.
It's probably something to that, honestly.
Which I think Cignetti might be the new Saban. I think Indiana might have like a Alabama type run.
As long
if he
as
stays,
I don't know.
as long as it's
Yeah, if he stays,
exactly right. As long as he stays there, I completely agree with you. But let him go through another season of what he just did in these two, and man, they're gonna have to be. I don't know. I don't know if Indiana can afford to run with some of these schools that are going to throw the bag at Cignetti.
well, listen, I'm wishing the Hoosiers all the luck in the world. I'm not going to get too cocky, but I really feel strongly that they're going to bring this home and get this done just based on the way they carry themselves, the business trips that they take, the way they talk, the way they play for each other, the way the coach keeps them focused. Miami's going to have to do something special to beat them.
Uh-huh.
So let's go IU. Let's get it done. Let's bring it home. Go Big Red. Let's get it done. And I don't have a good rah-rah speech. I'm not Kurt Cignetti, but let's Google him. He wins. So let's go win it. Speaking of applause, Maestro, it's time to take us through the news. Maestro, take us to the news stories that caught your eye this week.
All right. Let's see. Let me get my news stories here. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm not going to do videos. Well, I think I have one
Are we
video.
sure this is going to work? Are we sure this is going to work?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen like I just did with the graphic.
Okay.
So we'll start with
I'm not sure
that.
where you got that graphic, but everybody knows that was not our graphic. We got it from somewhere, so don't sue us, please.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was like ESPN or something.
All right.
All right, let me pull up this first one.
Boo.
All right, so I have to bring this up because my boy Davante Adams commenting on Stafford and what he said after or before that last drive. So Stafford had said, "Let's go snatch these guys' hearts" before that last drive, and this is Davante Adams saying, this is one of the most gangster things he ever said, and you could say in that moment. So,
wow.
Just reactions to that, to what Stafford said before he goes and games it on the Panthers.
I saw this, and the funny thing is, when they asked Stafford about it, he tried to downplay it, like, I said, let's go snatch this one from him, and Davante gets up there and sells him out a little bit, said, no, he said, let's snatch their hearts. And that is pretty gangster, and it's funny that hey, Stafford's from he played in Detroit a lot of years. Eminem was a big fan of Stafford for a while. Maybe Trevor Lawrence got a grill. What are we going to give Stafford now? Stafford's got to get something for this, right? Because he did. He went and snatched their hearts, pulled that game out. We'll get to that later. But man, what a unbelievable drive from Stafford, who I think should be the MVP this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. MVP of the league for me too. And I think if you were going to just say if I didn't know and you said, okay, of the winning NFL playoff quarterbacks from week 1, this is the quote, match it with the guy, I probably nail it. Like, I think Stafford's probably the first guy. It's such a Stafford thing to do. It's why everybody loves the guy. So hard to hate Stafford, man. And look, when they brought in Davante Adams, I was like, with Puka, like that's not even. So Davante's never going to see a double team, is what you're telling me. Like it's just not possible. What a just great compliment to that offense, and it shows. It shows time and time again when he needs a first down, when he needs a big play. That's where he's going, and those kind of chemistry thing, man, are so big. And I'm sure stuff like that from Stafford makes his guys just go for him just a little bit harder. That it's hard not to love to play with a guy like that. It's awesome.
Well, and if you look at what Davante's wearing here, we got to talk about this a little bit.
The drip is unfair.
It's like he's got a little bit country drip.
Yeah.
It's not like he's got that rodeo hat on. He's got that cool jacket. He's got the nice chains, kind of subdued, but drip, right? Subdued country drip. That's what I'm gonna call Davante Adams.
Where's his Jordan collection is nuts. He's from California.
Is he?
So
East Palo Alto.
Okay, that makes.
I don't know anything about Palo Alto. Is that country? What is that? Because he's giving off some country vibes here.
Well,
am I the only one that sees that?
No.
What does that hat say?
Yeah.
Midnight Rodeo.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he gives off country vibes. I mean,
Not with this look?
I always see his pregame fits, and he's always wearing some Jordans and some 90s style, like baggy stuff or something. Like,
I
guess
figured that's why Luke went country. Luke's going through this country phase. I thought maybe it was tied to Devontae.
I'm from Texas.
Yeah,
Gotta have a little country every now and then.
Look, I'm your father. I know where you're from. All right. But I'll tell you this. I like that hat. I like the subdued look, and that jacket I like it. I really do. So good job, Devontae Adams. Good job, Matt Stafford. Snatched their hearts. Yes, you did. That was gangster.
Yep. All right. Let me back out of this. Next clip or picture I have.
Hope you're not giving away any secrets when you do that.
This one's interesting. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but I saw this, and it made me a little interested. It intrigued me. Which team is better?
Wait a minute.
The 2019 LSU Tigers or the 2025 Indiana Hoosiers?
Take this off. We can't do this until they win. They got to win first. Come on, man. You're jinxing. Take it off. Take it off the screen. Take it off.
It's just about the team. It doesn't matter about who won.
They haven't won yet. LSU won 2019.
We're not talking about that, though. We're just talking about which team roster is better.
You can't compare them to the champions of the past until they're champions, man. Come on. I taught you better than this. That's a jinx move. If they lose now, I'm going to blame this moment right here on the show.
All right, well, this will jinx Miami. So Malachi Toney, a Miami wide receiver, was 13 years old when Carson Beck was a freshman at Georgia. How is that even possible?
Wow.
How many COVID years do you have?
Yeah. Clearly at least 3. Hey, look, here's what I'll say, though, just because you mentioned Tony. That one-handed going out of bounds, 55-inch vertical, like that dude is an absolute monster. Like,
he was incredible.
Oh, my goodness, man. Talk about an exciting guy to watch play. That was a lot of fun.
Is he related to the other Tony that played for Kansas City and New York?
Oh, certainly not, right? You're talking
Kendarius?
Yeah.
Kendarius.
Let's see.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'll look. But
not sure. But he's a freshman, right?
Yeah, he's a
freshman this
freshman.
year?
Mm-hmm.
True freshman or whatever?
Yeah, 18 years old.
Playing big time. He played big time.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
really well.
How old is Carson Beck, though?
Seriously, how old is Carson Beck?
How old is he?
He might be my age.
Let's see.
Is he 26?
No, he's 23.
Okay.
No, 23. He's older.
No,
he submitted his birth certificate with the green crayon, like on Benchwarmers.
That's hilarious.
The movie Benchwarmers.
Yeah, that's funny.
He's got documentation.
Yeah.
Carson Beck, it seems like he's 30 years old playing. It seems like I mean, how old was Bo Nix when he came out? Was he also 23 or 24?
Bo Nix was 23.
Yeah, so it's the same story here. I know Carson Beck got injured and other things like that, but
Malachi is not related to Kadarius.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. Malachi's got a bright future. I'm not sure what Carson Beck is going to do next year because I don't think he has another year of eligibility. If he did, that would be amazing. But he got paid to go to Miami, and it's paying off for Miami now.
For sure. Yeah.
I'm still worried about the jinx, man. I think we can't talk about
them.
We just can't talk about great teams until they win it, right?
Okay.
I don't like that, man. I'm nervous now. I'm going to take my hat off now. I don't know what to do.
Stop.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
All right, here's a really funny one, okay?
Okay, what is happening here? We're seeing a lot of your stuff on your...
So this is Chad Johnson's TV setup at his house. He's getting roasted. He's getting absolutely roasted.
He should.
For posting this.
Is that bed on the floor?
It looks like it's no box spring, just straight mattress on the floor. Well, I don't even think they make box springs anymore, but you get the point. No bed frame.
How do you even know what a box spring is, man? That's funny.
Because, Dad, you give me the oldest mattresses ever.
I don't give you any mattresses.
When I was growing up.
Hey, just so you know, you're supposed to change your mattress like every 7 or 8 years.
Yeah,
guys.
we bought a new mattress.
You're not supposed to keep mattress for longer than that, but this is interesting because I don't even know. What is that, like a 55-inch TV?
He's got his little Eero Wi-Fi on the floor.
Like,
shout out to Frontier.
Is Ocho trying to save a buck? Like, what is happening here?
This must be in one of his second or third houses. This isn't his primary residence. It can't be.
There's no way.
He's making all that money with. I saw him on Peyton's Places with Peyton Manning. I see him with Shannon Sharp on their podcast.
Yeah.
He's making enough money. I don't know, but he has been smart with his money. That's what I hear. So maybe this is part of that.
It's all that McDonald's. He saves up and eats at McDonald's, saving up money.
I did remember on Hard Knocks when they were talking to him about his jewelry and how much money he spends on jewelry. He was like, "Oh, these are from Claire's. These are $30." Yeah. Everyone sees I make so much money. They don't know the difference. They just assume they're expensive. So maybe this is just another step in that progression of just like, hey man, no one's gonna see the inside of my room unless I post the freaking picture of it to the entire world.
Can you zoom in? What brand of TV is that?
Like an On.
TCL?
It's like an On.
Is it an On?
Yeah, a Walmart.
It's the Walmart brand.
On, yeah.
Roku,
that's funny.
The Roku collab.
Ocho, good on you, man, for living way below your means. I love this. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And everything's white and sterile in there. It's almost like it's an insane asylum.
That's what it looks like, honestly.
But they gave him a TV for good behavior.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say,
hey, watch out. Hey, did he mount this himself? Watch out, Trayvon Diggs. That TV might fall on your head.
Yeah, literally. He probably had Trayvon Diggs mount it for him. That's probably what happened.
Save a little more money.
So I have one more.
Trayvon can tackle a TV, but not anybody running with the ball.
Yeah.
So I have one more. I don't think it's a jinx, but it is of Signetti. It's just a funny video. It's a video.
No, this is good. Yeah.
So this is a video. I guess I'll just mute it. That way you don't have to worry about the volume. All right, I'm gonna play it.
Just looking at the camera.
Yeah.
He just keeps looking at the camera. There's a ton of different clips. This is throughout one game.
He's smiling at the camera.
It's like he knows. This man's a genius.
He knows where to look.
Oh my goodness.
He found that one. This is great. He's the GOAT. Signetti is the GOAT.
Well, it gets better.
Does he do the
look at that
real quick whip?
Yeah, a little bit.
He's got so much.
Kurt Signetti is ruling the world right now.
He really is.
Oh, that's how you stand, Luke, with your arms like that.
Watch this one. Bam.
Great job, Kurt Signetti.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so
awesome.
That was
good luck, Indiana. Let's get it done. Go get it. Bring it home. Bring home the natty. All right, because
and that's it for.
Yeah, the next time we film, we still won't know who won the national championship. So maybe we'll have to do a breaking news ceremony live if they win.
Yep.
Okay, Maestro, thank you for bringing up those news stories. Very entertaining. Now, listen, speaking of entertaining, the NFL playoffs. We talked about it last week. Anybody can win this year. And, man, the games have proved that out. So let's get into a little NFL wild card playoff talk. You guys down for that?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go in chronological order. The first game was...
I have the bracket.
Yeah, okay. Put the bracket up there. But the first game was Bears and Packers, right?
Uh-huh.
Do I have that up? Yep, here we go. This is courtesy Bleacher Report. This is Bleacher Report's bracket.
Yep.
So here we go. The first game was the Bears and the Packers. As you see, the Bears moved on. They won 31-27.
Great game.
And, man, what an epic comeback by the Bears. Down at half, scoring 25 points in the fourth quarter to pull this game out. And Caleb Williams has arrived, guys. This is his crowning, right? Some are saying, is Caleb Williams the best Bears quarterback ever? I don't know if Jim McMahon may have something to say about that, but what an incredible, back from the dead. This is what the Bears have done all year. They did it to the Packers in the game they played them a couple weeks ago. But what an impressive outing for Caleb Williams and Loveland, the tight end. Man, I don't have the stats in front of me, Nick. If you have the stats so I know that Caleb threw for 300 and some yards, and a lot of that was in the second half, like 285 of it, something like that. And Loveland was over 100 yards. But what an unbelievable comeback by the Bears.
Yeah.
Do we think LaFleur's getting fired?
Hey, take it easy. We'll get to that in a minute, buddy. You're jumping the lead here.
We already know. We already know the Bears
about the game.
Came back and won.
But here's what I'll say.
Let's talk a little bit about the game before we get to the after the game stuff.
Well, look, I will say you mentioned McMahon. I've never, and no disrespect to the man, because obviously I know what he means to the city of Chicago, but I don't think that Jim could fade left off of the wrong foot and go
that throw was
4th and
crazy.
15, perfectly dropped between two level. Like the best of Caleb Williams, there are few guys that can do what he can do. Now, the worst of Caleb Williams, it puts him probably in that bottom 3 to 5 range also. But if Ben Johnson continues to develop him the way that it looks like he is, man, that dude is just unreal. So he went 24-48. The completion percentage, which is exactly what we're talking about, the decision making and the completion percentage, like those are the things that you have to worry about. But the raw talent, so 24-48, 361, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, was only sacked 1 time and 48 attempts, which means he probably had something like 55 dropbacks, which is insane. And then talk about a great, the tight ends coming out of college right now with Brock Bowers last year and Ty Warren and now Loveland. And there's a few others, but Loveland went 8 for 137 and seemed like all 8 catches were on 3rd and 8 or more. Like
big plays.
Super, super big plays. So, yeah, I mean, look, you talk about coaching hires that hit the mark. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are going to be menaces in the NFC North for the next 10 years because that was such a great, great hire. And how much does Detroit hate that they obviously, I mean, you can't hold on to that guy as an OC forever. It's never going to happen. But man, this was a phenomenal game. Green Bay gave it everything they had. And look, Green Bay playing obviously very banged up, right? So like you're missing your best defensive player. Rashawn Gary, since week 9, has not recorded a half sack or a tackle for loss. And that man is making $24 million a year. So,
you sure he was playing?
Right. So the Micah Parsons injury goes, and we've said it, we talked about it early on. The Micah Parsons impact on the field. Yes, it's about Micah, but it's also about what he does to everybody else. And that's a perfect example of that. So this game was very, very close. And Green Bay was obviously not at full strength. So I don't want to, belabor that point. But Chicago, man, down 18 to come back and win that game says a lot about a young team. And they've done it all year long. They continue to come back and, it's going to be a really, really fun game next week against the Rams.
Yeah, I think what you said there about the Packers, Jordan Love played great, right? His stats were up there as well.
Yep.
If you look at what he did,
24, 46, 323, 4 touchdowns, no picks, also only sacked once. Yeah. That is a almost perfect game.
Yeah, and so you can't fault him. Yeah, they were banged up on defense. And you mentioned Ben Johnson, and I love the fact that he was calling out Matt LaFleur when he got the job. Said, I love beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. And the handshake after the game was very frosty. Yep. Ben Johnson just was a drive-by handshake almost, and Matt LaFleur is just left there going, okay. But the Packers are banged up. Now listen, you said Parsons' name, so I'll address this now. This is no different, right? Micah with the Cowboys played in the playoff games, but was missing, right? The only sack he has in the playoffs, in four playoff games, I think, was of Tom Brady, and it was in the last 2 minutes of a blowout.
Yeah.
So that's the only sack he has in a playoff game. So we are used to Micah disappearing in big games, but this is part of the issue with Micah, and it is, not just his availability, but does he show up for big games? Now, shout out to Micah because this year has looked more like rookie Micah than any other year. Mm-hmm. But this is what we were trying to say to the Packers when they traded for Micah. This is what we had to tell ourselves because we had to make sense of the trade, when it happened. But I think Micah makes a difference. We all know that. But in the big moments, Micah needs to be there and show up. And that's what he wouldn't do in Dallas in the big moments. So the Packers losing gives the Cowboys the 20th pick for that second pick, which is a great win for us. Yep. So Packers losing helps out the Cowboys here. And so shout out to Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and these Bears. Do you believe in the Bears now, guys?
I like the Bears, but I know that they have the Rams coming to Chicago. and the way that Rams team look, Carolina was game. I saw a stat just in case anyone's like, well, Carolina was 3-0 this year as double-digit underdogs going into they were a double-digit underdog in this game. So they were a 10-point dog. Obviously covered the spread. But Carolina was 3-0 when they were double-digit underdogs this season. The rest of the league was 0-30 as double-digit underdog. So the Panthers deserve a little bit of respect. The Rams played a very game Panthers team. So before anyone,
I forgot about that game. I went right to the Packers and the Bears, and I forgot about the Rams game because that was played earlier in the day.
It was played earlier in the day, yeah. But I'm just saying, like you mentioned about liking the Bears, or and I do like what the Bears did, and I think that is also a very good team. The problem is the Rams are better. So as much as I like
no, what I was saying is I was going to go in chronological order, but I forgot about that game and went right to the Bears and Packers.
Yeah, that's okay. You forget about my team.
Yeah.
My boys
I didn't forget about the team. I just got them out of order. The games. I was going to that game next, but
yeah, I do like what the Bears are doing, and I think that, like I said before, I firmly believe the NFC North will be completely dependent on the way Caleb and Ben Johnson perform over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and that's going to make the road tough for Micah. But the Packers are young; they'll be back. Now, you talked about Matt LaFleur, Luke. This is the time. Do you think? Now, listen, the kicker missed a couple kicks in this game. An extra point, field goal.
Here we go.
So he did, and the defense was banged up, and we had backups to backups playing. We know a little bit about that, something about that in Dallas. So do you think that's enough? What I was going is, do you think that's enough of a pass for Matt LaFleur to keep his job with all the things that were going on? Micah being hurt, other defensive players being hurt, Edgerrin Cooper, all these guys being hurt when they need him the most. Do you think that's enough for him to keep his job?
No.
Okay, I mean, so if you
fire him, he's been there since Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was bailed him out. I feel like a lot because he was Aaron freaking Rodgers. He doesn't have that anymore.
Hold on. They didn't bail him out a lot because they didn't go to the Super Bowl. So
no, I'm just talking about in games. I'm just talking about in games in general. Like,
I understand, but if you're going to fire LaFleur, other than Harbaugh, who's an upgrade?
Look,
I think you're gonna bring McCarthy back.
No, I don't think.
Yeah, Jason Garrett.
Yeah, I don't think you're doing either one of those. Look, I think.
So who's the upgrade?
So I think obviously Harbaugh is the upgrade, right? So I think that's the one obvious. You can't kind of no two ways about it. I think for the way that team is constructed, if you're me, and I really was thinking of this because as soon as that game was over, and I'll say for me, and I'm really curious if the Packers fans can get in the comments and kind of educate me a little bit. When he calls that timeout after the first down with like 48 seconds or 43 seconds to go, instead of letting Love get up there, it was only like a 4 or 5 yard play. To me, it's like, let Love get up there, spike the ball, conserve that last timeout, right? And then the very next play, they have to take a 10-second runoff after the play because somebody gets hurt. Like, it's those little things that I've seen time and time again from LaFleur. Again, outsider. I'm not dialed into Packers games, but it feels like when they're losing games, it's like, man, what is LaFleur doing? So if I'm a Packers,
game management,
yeah, 100%, yeah.
Well, think about when they lost to Tampa Bay,
right? Exactly,
a few years
ago, 100%,
and it was that whole goal line situation and that whole mess up that cost them the game.
Yeah. So for me, I would say Harbaugh's the obvious upgrade, but if that's the white whale and that's too far gone, with the way that the Packers are constructed, go get Brian Flores. Like that defense with Brian Flores, and you go get
Matt Eberflus is
as
available.
a head coach.
Matt Eberflus is available.
You remember Brian Flores was a head coach?
He was, but don't forget how that ended either. There was a little bit of
I get it.
There was some shadiness going on there.
So, but he's not an upgrade over Matt LaFleur, guys. Come on.
Okay.
There's not a coach in college that they could go
Cignetti?
grab.
Kurt Cignetti?
Maybe, I don't know.
But here's my thing: if you get,
they're ready to go. They're ready to go. The Packers. They got to have somebody.
That's what I'm
hitting
saying.
The ground running.
You've got to have somebody with experience. So to me, Brian Flores fits that mold. And if you couple that with a Cliff Kingsbury at OC or Lincoln Riley, if he really does want to make the jump to the pros, or you've got a lot of really, really strong offensive minds where you can get Brian Flores, you get an offensive mind with basically a made offense. With the way Jordan Love and Jacobs, they got a lot of offensive weapons. I'm just saying, don't undermine the idea of a strong defensive-minded head coach with the way that offense is constructed. I see you shaking your head. A week from now, you might be saying something different.
There's no way. No. I would never hire Brian Flores over Matt LaFleur. And
Why?
because he's failed just in the same way that Matt LaFleur has. And I think there's something to be said with continuity. I think there's enough of caveats in this year, just taking this year at what it was with injuries and performance of kickers, and I think there was a big drop in there mixed in. So there's a lot of blame to go around, is what I'm saying. And if you go messing with Flores and bringing in, don't ever say Cliff Kingsbury's name on this show again. That guy's a fraud. Come on, guys. Cliff Kingsbury? No, thank you. Go back to college, Cliff. You do better there now. They're paying the players, so maybe you'll do better there.
You're talking about the Cliff Kingsbury that took the Washington Commanders
let's not
to
start.
the NFC
Don't start with
championship game. The
That
Cowboys.
was Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, and the score in the one score games. They won the one score games that year. They lost them this year. That was the same Cliff Kingsbury that was there this year and the year before. So I don't believe in Cliff Kingsbury as a professional coach. Not in the pros. He's better in college.
Well, and didn't he coach Arizona too?
Yeah, he was the head coach.
They were awful.
Coach Bro.
Yeah,
That was he.
Yeah, from Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
I don't think Flores is an upgrade over LaFleur. You give me Harbaugh, I'm in. He's a defensive-minded coach. I'll fire Matt LaFleur for John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I will do that.
Flores had the same level of talent on his teams.
No.
So if he has Green Bay's talent level,
Miami went to the playoffs the 2 seasons that Brian Flores was there, and the talent level was not nearly the same. The only reason he got ran out of Miami was because of a huge controversy. So to me, I disagree. I think Flores is an upgrade over LaFleur, especially because LaFleur's had.
No, we can disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I just think
he didn't win. He didn't win as much as LaFleur. So
but that's what I'm saying. His teams weren't as good.
Well, hold on a second.
It's Green Bay.
Green Bay's
it's hard to win in
is,
Green Bay.
Yeah, just relax, everybody, because we're spending too much time on Matt LaFleur and Brian Flores. Just to be honest,
big story, man. Could be.
It's not that big a story because it hasn't happened yet. So if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's probably not going to happen because Harbaugh is got to get.
Yeah.
He's the pick of the litter right now. What team does Harbaugh want to go to? Maybe he wants to go to the NFC so he doesn't have to face Jim in the AFC. But
I think the Giants. I think he'll go to the Giants.
I'm not disagreeing you fire Matt LaFleur, but I would only fire him if I have John Harbaugh in a handshake deal.
That's fair.
I'd agree.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so the game we skipped over is the Rams-Panthers, and the Rams got out to a nice lead. The Panthers battled back. Bryce Young proving all the haters wrong that were dissing him last year, including me, excuse me. I was one of them. I didn't know what the heck was going on, but Canales has got him playing well, and they almost did it, but the Rams and Matt Stafford snatched their hearts out. That's what he said. We're going to go snatch their hearts out. And they did. And so what a win by the Rams on the road. And they're going to go face the Bears. We just talked about that. And in the third NFC game, this is so San Fran beats Philly. It was kind of a ugly slugfest. To be honest with you, San Francisco beats Philly 23-19. The thing that stood out for me in this game was Brock Purdy being tough and resilient. And then goes on that drive to win the game. So San Francisco lost the time of possession, lost the turnover battle, and the defense holds Philly to 2 field goals in the second half to win this game. And very, very impressed with San Francisco. If you remember right, I picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl with the 49ers closer than they appear in the rearview mirror. Remember I said I'm a little worried about these 49ers. So that's still yet to be determined. But A.J. Brown had a big drop after all that mouthing. You know, him and Sirianni got into it at one point in the game. And then he had a big drop on a third down. That was huge. And then penalties were kind of one-sided against Philly. If you're a Philly fan, I'm sure that's the first place they're going to go to is penalties. But San Fran beats Philly 23-19. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think exactly what you said. I think the big takeaway I had from San Francisco Philly was you're obviously not firing Sirianni. Anyone I saw a few little Eagles, I've said this before a million times, and one of my favorite things to do is right after an Eagles loss is jump on the podcasts, jump on the YouTube lives and watch the Eagles fans blowing up. And any of them saying to get rid of Sirianni is absolutely ridiculous. The dude won a Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
This is just an insane thought. I will say AJ Brown must go. Like, regardless of how talented he is, and he is crazy talented, they are obviously not vibing. Like, that is not
Was
working.
Baltimore calling?
Right.
Will Baltimore call for AJ Brown?
What if they try to get Pickens or something?
Oh, God, that would be
We're
terrifying.
franchise
That would
tagging
be
Pickens.
terrifying.
We are franchise tagging Pickens at the very least,
Just
guys.
saying.
Yeah. God, that would
I don't
suck. But yeah, I think AJ Brown has to be on the way out. I think Sirianni has clearly, the way that he coaches, and I, coming from as a Spurs fan, like you coach your top players as hard as everyone else, and everyone else has to fall in line. AJ Brown doesn't like that. You saw it. That play that you mentioned is a perfect microcosm of that. Get off the field, dude. Like, what are you doing? And it's not like you even need to just go take a 90-degree angle to the left. Like, just get off the field. And
Yeah.
so I think Sirianni was totally justified in what he was doing. They're trying to hurry up and get the plays in. They're trying to go a little tempo, and they can't do that with AJ Brown literally walking off the field. So that was kind of a
No,
big,
I get it.
yeah, that was a big takeaway. And then the other thing is, we talk a lot about Schottenheimer's coming in and changing the next man up mentality, and it really being something for the Cowboys this year, even despite all the trouble they had. It feels like year after year, Kyle Shanahan does that with the Niners. Like,
Yeah.
Kittle's tears his Achilles in the middle of the game. They end up not going with Pearsall. They haven't had Brandon Ayuk all year. Like, it's just insane how much production he continues to get from everyone. And the veteran leadership, like you saw they showed up Trent Williams early and often in this game. And that dude is obviously, it seems to be anyway, the heart and soul of that team. He just gets them all riled up. So I think the 49ers are going to be a super tough out. Very happy to watch the Eagles lose. And I think, it's time for AJ Brown to move on in Philly probably.
Well, Christian McCaffrey played hard, man,
Mhm.
and he got it done in the passing game. Rushing was a little tough, but Jawan Jennings and Robinson in the passing
Yep.
game, stepping up, next man up,
Next
like you
man up,
said, with
yep.
Kyle Shanahan, and was really impressive. I think that it will be interesting to see what happens in Philly. AJ Brown doesn't like winning ugly,
No.
so maybe he can go somewhere and look pretty and lose.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's time for Devontae Smith to be the number one option. Maybe
100%.
I mean, give him a chance because I think he can. Any other team he's on,
got
he's
the
the number one
talent.
option.
100%.
Yeah, so I think give him a shot. It's his time, and get some pieces around him and use him.
Yeah, look at
The thing I worry about Devontae Smith is, can he stay healthy? He's
yeah.
so tiny, so tiny, you know.
But look at JSN in Seattle, right? He gets the chance to be the number one, and obviously that's worked out pretty well. I'm not saying Devontae can go have a JSN type season, but I do think he can be incredibly productive. Like, I think he's got that kind of talent for sure.
Yeah, I was impressed by San Francisco pulling this one out, and maybe it's more about the implosion that's imminent in Philly.
Yeah.
Something they don't like each other.
Yeah.
It's apparent,
Right.
right? And sometimes you can overcome that and still win, but it doesn't look like 2 out of the last 3 years they've been able to do that.
Yeah.
1 year they were able to do that. So San Francisco moves on and will play Seattle, which is going to be a slugfest, man. I can't wait.
I got San Francisco.
Okay, well we'll get there in a second. Let's settle down there.
You're too eager.
You're hitting the gas.
I like it.
You got
all
too
gas,
eager.
no brakes.
All right, let's take a look at the AFC side of the bracket. Now, we had a game earlier where Buffalo pulled out the game at the very end against Jacksonville. They won 27-24. Here's what I know. Josh Allen went into the phone booth, put on a Superman cape, and came out Superman. He was 28 for 35, 273 yards, 1 touchdown passing, 2 touchdowns rushing, and he got banged up in this game but pulled out the victory. Josh Allen wills them to victory, and the defense made a timely play, timely picks. I think there were a couple deflected picks. Buffalo beats Jacksonville in Jacksonville 27-24. And I think this was the only pick you missed, Luke. Wasn't that right? I missed the Packers, and Nick missed the Eagles, I believe.
Yes, I did pick Jacksonville. I'm still not sold on Buffalo, but yeah, I was dissing Jacksonville all season, and I thought they were going to come up clutch for me. But I guess that's what I get for dissing them all season, you know. And then I pick them, and then they're going to lose. So just seems right for that to happen.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's a good game. I think this is kind of what I was talking about as we moved into the latter part of the season of the picks. And it's like, not that these teams aren't close. I think, some teams have a little bit more separation than others. But in playoff games, when you get down in crunch time, and this isn't just my opinion, I think this has kind of been proven over time, quarterback play will usually be that deciding factor in close games. And that's not to suggest that Trevor Lawrence played bad. I don't think he did. I know that both of the picks were tipped. There, it's not like it was terribly, terribly bad. But I will say in that spot and last possession, trying to force it into that window, like, is a little bit on him in that respect. But it's a good win. Josh Allen did what I thought he would do, like you said, stepped in the phone booth, put on the cape, did Josh Allen things. No Burrow, no Mahomes, no Lamar. This has got to be the season that he does it. The one cause for pause, if you're the Buffalo Bills, is, and they look, Coach Jacksonville has done a phenomenal, Cohen has done a phenomenal job all year. But when you're ripping 10 for 67 with Etienne, 5 for 21 with Tootin, 6 for 31 with Trevor Lawrence, you're averaging over 6 yards a pop rushing. Run the stupid ball 40 times, right? This game was never so far out of stretch. That would be the cause for pause with Buffalo, is that run defense has got to get better.
You just taking all my points from the last one, man? What are you doing, man?
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. It's okay.
From the last one, we never recorded this before.
Yeah, I was just messing with him. So yeah, Jacksonville. I think that's a great understanding of Cohen. It's like, why didn't you run the ball more? I think that's the only takeaway from Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence was a little bit off on his completion percentage. They threw the ball, 30 times, and they didn't run the ball enough. That's exactly right. And I think, Jacksonville still had 154 yards rushing. And without running the ball as much as they should. So yeah, you said it earlier, Josh Allen doesn't have Lamar to deal with, doesn't have Patrick Mahomes to get in his way. So he has to do it. This is the year he has to do it. And you mentioned Joe Burrow as well. And what this came down to, I know Luke picked Jacksonville, but I'm a little surprised because this whole time he's been talking about the experienced playoff caliber quarterback going against the not experienced quarterback, and he's always taken the experienced quarterback. But in this time, I guess you thought Jacksonville's D would be the difference, huh, Luke?
Well, no, I thought Buffalo's defense would be the difference. I thought their defense would be so bad that it wouldn't matter. Josh Allen could do, he's not Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes, is a whole different animal. Like, I don't think Josh Allen could carry the Bills' terrible defense. And I thought Jacksonville, like y'all were stating stats for them running the ball and not running it enough. It's like, dude, that's why I picked Jacksonville, because it's like they should have won if, they just run the ball and just those little things that I guess, yeah, it comes down to that experience, because that's ultimately what was lacking, and that showed, I think. And or maybe Trevor Lawrence just needed to rock his grill the whole game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe he choked on one of those diamonds in that game. That's why he threw those picks. But to me, that's what I said. You thought Jacksonville's defense would be the difference, meaning they would play better than Buffalo's defense. But that's what I meant. So you trusted more in Jacksonville's defense, which is not a bad thing. It's just Buffalo's defense made timely plays, which hasn't been the case all year. So I don't fault you for that. I just was talking about the quarterback philosophy difference. And Josh Allen is the most trusted quarterback in this playoff besides Matt Stafford on the other side, right? But on the AFC side, who do you trust more? Do you trust Aaron Rodgers more than you trust Josh Allen? It's been a long time since Aaron Rodgers has done it. But I think I would put my trust in Josh Allen
Well,
more than Aaron.
I don't have any like lack of trust with Josh Allen. I just don't think their team is good. Like that's why I picked the
Yeah.
Broncos, because sure, Bo Nix doesn't have the experience, but I think they're a better constructed team. Like, I mean, New England's kind of in that category too. I mean, we'll see. You know, they won.
You're getting ahead again. You're getting ahead. You're getting too
I'm
eager.
just saying. No, I'm just saying. Like, you know, Josh Allen. I don't have anything against Josh Allen. I think, yes, trust him out of any quarterback in the AFC. I think, but I just don't think the Bills are that good, like as a team. So that's why I'm not. That's why I'm not riding with them.
Yeah, I got it. I understand. But I'm just saying, see, again, it's a contrast. You were talking about the Darnold factor. You don't like Darnold but his team's good. Because he hasn't been there. You know, all these quarterbacks you're not sure of. That's all I was pointing out is it's different. You didn't go with Josh Allen because of his defense. Okay, got it. But Denver is who Buffalo will play next, and we'll see that put to the test. We'll see how good Buffalo is, and as they go on in Denver and play Denver, and see if Bo Nix can handle that pressure. I personally think Sean Payton's slightly overrated. He only won one time in all those years. Probably should have won more, to be honest with you. And the one you won, some say that Peyton Manning and the team should have won that one in a couple plays here and there, and they would have. But that's
the onside kick.
Water under the bridge. Yeah. So Sean Payton may be a little overrated, and Buffalo's coming in there, and I think McDermott saved his job with that win in Jacksonville, and that might not be a great thing for Buffalo in the next 3 or 4 years. And what if you could have had Harbaugh in there with Josh Allen? How would that be? But anyway, Buffalo gets it done, moves on, faces Denver in the next round, and then the night game we had the Chargers going into New England to face the Patriots. And this Patriots defense, they took over this game. It was kind of an ugly game. Herbert was running for his life back there, but the Patriots pull it out 16-3, just enough offense, but a whole lot of defense for the Patriots to get it done. And they await the winner of Houston and Pittsburgh, who plays Monday night.
Yeah, I think, like you said, man, perfectly said, ugly, ugly game. But I will say, as a defensive, I love defense. This is kind of the smash mouth game you want to see. At the end of that game there, man, they were beating up Herbert. Like, he was getting just rocked over and over again. Like, I honestly felt bad for the guy, because they were just relentless in that pressure. But look, this felt like one of those throwback Patriot playoff wins. Like, it's so hard not to think about that. Like, we're not going to ask our offense to go out. Like, y'all don't got to go out and score 30. Y'all just don't turn the ball over, play sound football. Y'all scored 13 points, and we're good. We got you. And what a luxury. Like, I mean, especially with the younger quarterback, Drake May. And not to say that he's not capable of taking over a game. I think he's shown that he is, but man, what a luxury to have a defense back there just absolutely clipping everything they see.
And that's why I picked the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl, is because of that defense and just getting enough from Drake May. But I know, Luke, you mentioned that your gut was telling you to pick the Chargers, but you went with the Patriots, and it's a good thing you went against your gut, because the allure's there. Jim Harbaugh, he's there, and what a difference he makes. Their run game was a little banged up, right? They didn't have Amari and Hampton for the game, but God, what an impressive win for the Patriots. And don't look now, but the Patriots are one win away from the AFC Championship game. And I've never really been a fan of the Patriots and that whole dynasty and the Belichick-Brady thing. I always liked Vrabel. So now I've got this, and I like Drake May. So now I'm kind of being sucked in to liking the Patriots, but I'm refusing. I don't want to like them, but my head thinks they're going to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, at least from what we've seen so far. Look, not only in the playoffs, but all season long. It's not like this is, they snuck in as a 5 seed or 6 seed and their defense is getting hot. Like, no, this is a legitimate top contender. They've been a legitimate playoff championship team for the majority of the season. This should not be a surprise to anybody. the fact that, no Belichick, no Brady, none of the kind of stalwarts, and yet this feels very similar. It's like the sequel of the same movie we've seen over and over again. It's the Hangover movies. It's Hangover 1, Hangover 2, Hangover. It's the same movie, right? It's the same
Fast and
stuff.
Furious.
It's fast. Thank you. Perfect. It's Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why those movies do $1 billion every time they come out. It's tried, it's true. People love it no matter how much they've seen it. And that's kind of what I feel like we're getting with the Patriots, man. It's hard not to enjoy having that team that you know what you're going to get. Smash mouth football, good game, close game, NFL playoffs.
No, that's exactly right. And these playoffs have been very entertaining, as we talked about at the top of this. It was an incredible weekend of football, but we have one game that's being played on Monday night, and it's Houston at Pittsburgh against Pittsburgh. The Texans are my dark horse, so I have the Texans winning this game in Pittsburgh, and I think you two took Pittsburgh. Is that right?
That's right.
Yep.
Any changing? You sticking with it?
Nah.
I know Pittsburgh is Luke's dark horse, and he's Aaron Rodgers. That's his guy. But anybody changing? How do you feel about it? Do you still feel that they're going to pull it out?
Yeah, I do, because I think what the playoff, like what this week has continued to show us, is if you, again, and this is kind of like, you look at Seattle, I'm sorry, not Seattle, San Francisco and Philly, you look at Chicago, Green Bay, even the Rams and the Panthers, close games. I would argue the quarterbacks that are playing better right now won each of those games. I'm not suggesting that Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love or that Purdy's better than Hurts overall. But right now, today, in these games and over the last month of the season, the quarterbacks that have been playing better have won these games. And if you look at Buffalo, Jacksonville, even New England, although I think New England's the outlier because their defense is so much better, but the better quarterbacks have won these games. And if you get the kind of best version of Aaron Rodgers, like we saw, week 18, that he is going to beat CJ Stroud. Like, he's better than CJ Stroud. So that's where my pick kind of stays where it was at.
That's true. Yeah, very much so. Luke, anything to add to that?
No, I just think, like, if you don't think that Mike Tomlin is gonna have Pittsburgh ready to play, I mean, they're gonna be ready, and I just have full confidence in that experience that Pittsburgh has on their team. They have a lot of older guys or experienced guys, and I think that's gonna help them. I guess kind of like the Bills. Like, I mean, maybe the Bills will have a run, but I think Pittsburgh just has that experience. Aaron Rodgers is. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I'm just thinking back to, what was it, last year when they played the Texans when he was with New York and they cooked the Texans defense. Like, I don't know. I think he likes playing. He likes playing Houston. He likes playing them. He's gonna have a similar game, I think. And DK coming back, I think it's just gonna be a big game for Pittsburgh.
Well, this is a different Houston defense. Their defense is phenomenal this year. I think they're going to be chasing Rodgers and wreaking havoc for Rodgers all night. I think Stroud will do just enough. The way the Texans have been running the ball lately with Woody Marks, I like it. And they have just enough playmaking at wide receiver to keep ahead of the Steelers. But it starts with that defensive line with the Texans. They have to get pressure. They got to make Rodgers uncomfortable. If they do that, they win the game. If they get them blocked up, then Rodgers, could cause some problems. But I'm going to stick with the Texans, and I have the Texans going on to play the Patriots. You guys have the Steelers going on to play the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I said I have the Patriots in the Super Bowl, so I'm picking them to beat whoever wins this game. And I think me and Luke have Denver beating Buffalo, this is a tough game because I like Buffalo. I want Josh Allen to win. So this is a toss-up for me. I think Nick has Buffalo going to the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
Great elaboration there. Good job. Way to elaborate.
What else is he
I thought you were going to go to Luke next.
No, I was going to just have you elaborate on you having Buffalo in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I think here's the thing. And the biggest problem I have with Denver, I think everything Luke said earlier about Denver is 100% right. The problem is, if you look throughout the season, Bo Nix at times has like disappeared quarters 1, 2, and 3. Now he's been phenomenal in quarter 4.
And then he
Like
cooks.
he cooks in quarter 4, but is against a veteran team like Buffalo and a veteran quarterback like Josh Allen. And to your point about Sean Payton, he can get a little squirrely in these moments, some of these decision-making processes lately. So if you get a tight game, Sean McDermott against
Sean
Payton, and then Josh Allen versus Bo Nix, I think Buffalo has the advantage in both of those areas. And so, and then, the AFC Championship game, no matter who's there, any of these teams, I think it'll be New England, but it's going to be a knockdown drag out. So, in the championship games, anything can happen. But I definitely, again, just trust Josh Allen to carry him through.
I just think if the Bills, the way they kind of struggled with Jacksonville, I'm like, I mean, Denver's almost identical to New England. Like, just their offense
similar.
is like, just take care of the ball and just, you don't have to go crazy, like rely on the defense. So he's not really asked to
That's right.
do a whole lot, Bo Nix. And I think when he has been asked to come up clutch, he has this whole season. So we'll see. I mean, I know the playoffs are a way different environment, but also them having home field advantage is going to help a lot. I think they're just going to have so much energy and be ready to play. And I think they're going to get their revenge from last year, because I know the game wasn't too close last year. They played at Buffalo, but they showed some signs of like, hey, we're coming. So I think this is their moment to say, we're here and we're going to take you down. Yeah.
Yeah. So Luke has Denver, Nick has Buffalo, and I think I'm going to go with the home team, even though my heart is rooting for Josh Allen. So look, there you have it. I mean, it's been an exciting start to the playoffs. We'll see who wins on the Monday night game with Houston and Pittsburgh. See if we get another down to the wire game, or if this one going to be a blowout. We'll see. But what an exciting time to be an NFL fan, and what an exciting time to have playoffs. We had the college football playoff we talked about earlier. Now we have the NFL playoffs. So what an exciting time to be a football fan. Okay, let's look just real quickly. Let's look at the NFL defensive coordinator situation for the Cowboys. Let's get a little Cowboy talk in here. We'll go Cowboys talk, then we'll go draft order, and then we'll get into Nick's picks and that way. All right, so the Cowboys defensive coordinator, they put out some invites. They've requested permission. They got denied for the Falcons defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, and which I think would be a great interview. And they can still interview him. We'll see what happens with, with the coaching. They fired Raheem Morris. We'll see what happens with Ulbrich. He's still under contract. Usually they let those guys interview. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
They also put out requests for Jim Leonard, who's the Broncos defensive pass game coordinator. Durante Jones, who's the Vikings defensive pass game coordinator under Flores. He's a Flores guy. And then some guy I've never heard of, Ephraim Bando, which I think is an outside shot, and he's just the safeties coach for the Browns under Jim Schwartz. I think out of these 4 names, give me Jim Leonard and Ulbrich as my top 2, with Durante Jones kind of being a dark horse because I like the Flores mentality. I just don't know if he's ready to be a defensive coordinator, Durante Jones. And Ephraim, I just don't think he has enough experience to get a defensive coordinator job. What do you think about these guys that they've put out the request to interview?
Yeah, so for me, I like Jim Leonard. And I think the thing is, and you've said this before, and I love the way to kind of look at it, is if the Eagles or the Giants were to hire, and like, which of these guys that went to a division rival would I be worried about them going to a division rival? And the only one that really jumps out at me from those particular names is Jim Leonard. Now, if Jim Leonard being in Denver, if Vance Joseph ends up getting one of these head coaching jobs, which he absolutely might, apparently he's going to be.
I think he's interviewing with the Titans.
Right. Yeah. And apparently he may get 1 or 2 more. So if he does end up getting one of these head coaching jobs, Vance Joseph, then Jim Leonard becomes the one that they obviously want to stay in Denver and be the DC there. I think it's smart of Dallas to try to get ahead of that and hopefully be able to do something there. So for me, I like Jim Leonard. From what I've read, I didn't know a ton about him. I did a little research on him, and Seems like he's a real smart guy. I know Schottenheimer has a great affinity for him. Um, people have kind of connected the dots, and you go back to what Schottenheimer said he was looking for in a defensive coordinator, and it was almost like he was talking specifically about Jim Leonard.
He's a teacher,
He right, right.
yeah.
Good hell of a football player, he said. There's some quotes from the back in the day. So yeah, I think for me it's Jim Leonard would be the one that makes the most sense. I obviously would still prefer one of these ex head coaches as the potential, whether it's Brian Flores, whether it's Raheem Morris. Like I would prefer to go that route just because I think that's what this team kind of requires is someone that's got that kind of pedigree. But Jim Leonard from the ones that we've actually interviewed would be my choice.
And I think that's the question, right? Is who's hiring this guy? Is it Jerry? Is it Schottenheimer? Is it are they both doing it? I think that I don't know that they can pay some of these big names.
Right.
That's the problem,
Right.
right? That's probably what they're looking at. Maybe they shouldn't be because they're worth $13 billion or whatever it
Sure.
was. So let's use some of that to get a great defensive coordinator in here. I think that if you look, Jerry likes familiarity. Well, Schottenheimer is familiar with Jim Leonard, like you said. Unless Durante Jones comes in here and really impresses him, and he has that Brian Flores type aggressiveness
Yep.
with the way he calls games. Apparently, I don't know that for a fact. I just read that. I'm a little worried that the Commanders fired Joe Witt, and I don't, I don't. That's a familiar name for Cowboys people around here.
Yep.
So I'm really not interested in Joe Witt. But I think out of these names, I would agree Jim Leonard is the guy, with Durante Jones being intriguing. But if you're not going to hire Flores or Morris or Schwartz or any of these big name guys, then they're looking in the right direction for the next young defensive mind. No, I don't know about Jonathan Gannon. I don't think he fits the mold here. But I like Jim Leonard. I can get behind that. I don't think Al Harris is going to get that chance. And looks like Aaron Glenn hasn't been fired in New York, so he's probably going to stay.
Yep.
So, but if Jerry's doing the hiring, I hope it's a collaboration with him and Schottenheimer, because we do like Schottenheimer as a head coach. Pair him with another young defensive mind, and man, that could be rocket fuel, jet fuel, man.
Yeah, I agree completely. But I do think, and I'm sure Jerry said it in jest, but he had the Trump Venezuela kind of comment about, this day. He was asked very specifically at the press conference, who's making this hire, Jerry? And he said, well, I like Trump and the Venezuela, we're gonna run Trump's running Venezuela now, and just
It's
kind of
controversial. It's going to be controversial.
a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. But I think I do believe he said it in jest. Like if you listen to the interview and don't take it out of context, I think my best guess would be because Schottenheimer's done such a great job for himself this year, I think it'll be a collaborative pick, which kind of again leans me more toward that Jim Leonard thing, which would be great. And I just I hope that Jerry does not get overly involved. I hope it's not him imposing somebody on Shot. I think whoever it is that gets picked, I really do hope they did it together and that Shot has an actual say in who his DC is.
It's just you just don't know, Jerry.
You don't.
You just don't know.
You don't.
But Jerry wants to retire with more Super Bowls than anybody, so he's got to get this right. We can't keep changing defensive coordinators every year.
Yeah.
So any other GM who has had a fifth defensive coordinator in 5 years or fourth in 5, whatever it is, that GM might be fired, right? But we know Jerry's the owner. That's not going to happen. So I think it's interesting that all of these head coaching vacancies, and I think there's 8 now, right? There's the Cardinals, Falcons, Ravens, Browns, Raiders, Dolphins, Giants, and Titans.
Yep.
Maybe the Packers will join that list, but they're all seemingly waiting on the John Harbaugh situation, right? He's kind of gonna hold this up, I think, until it's determined through back channels and handshakes and secret meetings and where he's leaning towards going. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to see any news on this for a while, and I think there's some rules involved. I don't know the rules when it comes to talking to coaches and who you can talk to and when you can hire them, but there shouldn't slow us down too far. Help me out with the rules here.
It's just the only thing that really is going to slow this down, particularly for now, if you get the Packers availability And really the one that's really gonna slow this down is the Miami one. The rule that really complicates all of this is the Rooney Rule. So there's no real rule on when the vacancies get filled, but these coaches like Miami, they've gotta interview at least 2 minority candidates. And
Well, they all do.
right, but what I'm saying is, like, if the top destinations for Harbaugh are the teams that are the latest, like, the Titans and the Giants conceivably have had their openings for months now. Miami literally just got rid of McDaniel, and if you read the reports and believe them, they only did that because they have the handshake deal with Harbaugh. Well,
Yeah, but I used to know this, but that because you couldn't interview people that were still playing in the playoffs and on to the Super Bowl. There was a certain time you had to do that. Shame on me for not looking this up before we recorded this. But can one of y'all look up the rule on hiring head coaches that are still working? Because I know they changed it more recently, which is why it's throwing me off a little bit. But there's only like an open window that you can interview these people while they're still in the playoffs. So
it
maybe we'll check back on that, but
it's not. I've got it. So they can
okay,
interview whenever, but they cannot be hired until their team's season is over. So
okay.
if the top
So if
off
Jim Leonard's going to be the Cowboys defensive coordinator and they go to the Super Bowl, it can't happen until
after they're done, correct?
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the thing is that it's all those kinds. It's not like Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss
He just
deal where,
leaves.
hey, I'm taking these guys with me.
Yeah.
What do y'all want to do? Do y'all
Right.
want to coach there or come with me?
Yeah.
It's not like that. And that's what I'm saying is this will be a slow process. And if we have 8 or 9 teams looking for head coaches, and the problem with head coaches is there's a lot of recycled candidates. I don't know if Mike McDaniels is going to get another shot
I
at
hope
head
not.
coach, maybe in Cleveland, but he makes a great offensive coordinator, right? Raheem Morris, I don't know if he's going to get a shot. I think he's interviewing in Tennessee. I don't know if Brian Flores is getting any interviews. I haven't heard yet.
No.
Um, so I don't. It just depends. I know Vance Joseph, and these could be Rooney Rule interviews. I hope not. I hope
Yeah.
they're legitimate because these guys have earned it. But I think this is going to be just a slow process here on this coaching carousel, with Harbaugh being the linchpin and the first shoe to drop before
Mhm.
the first domino, I guess, to fall. Any other comments on the head coaching vacancies or the defensive coordinator situation in Dallas?
Yeah, I think just that Brian Flores, I think there's an article that came out, and I was reading this earlier. It's the Viking Age, so one of the Minnesota kind of things, and the the title of it is Brian Flores' next move could devastate the Vikings more than the fans expect. And I think it's just really saying that Brian Flores was very intentional about not taking the extension. He has yet to officially take any interviews. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. He may have some
Right.
lined up and it's just coming later, but at least from what they're reporting, he doesn't have any. The reality, though, is if the dude doesn't take a head coaching gig or doesn't get interviews, he basically has his pick of which DC job does he want. And I would even venture to guess that there's a handful of teams that have current DCs that would probably move on from them if Brian Flores called and was like, "Hey, I want to come here." So I think for the Cowboys, if you want to be really aggressive with one of these kind of white whale type picks, then you've got to do that and you've got to put it out there. Right now, it seems like they're kind of
Mhm.
and good for them. They should do this. They don't get stuck on any one guy, but they are definitely doing their due diligence this cycle with the DC.
Yeah, and that's good to see. They're not rushing to
Yeah.
familiarity. So good on the Cowboys. Listen, I got one other thing with the Cowboys that I want to talk about, and that is because Green Bay lost. We now know that the
Mhm.
first round picks for the Cowboys will be 12 and 20. Now, we've been looking at a lot of names here, and I listened to a lot of experts, and I like Jeff Kavanaugh and Brian Broaddus on Trust the Tape. I like listening to those guys, and some of these names I agree with that they've mentioned. I'm not a draft expert, so don't shoot me in the comments. I like the draft. I love the draft. I don't get nerdy into watching everybody's film and grading them. But I do feel like that the Cowboys are pretty easy to see who they're going to pick because they're going to invite them in and visit. They don't usually go off that list. So when we look at the 12th and 20th pick, I think if you're asking me who I would want to see with the 12th pick, I think I would want to see Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
And there's a chance he could fall there, being a safety because people don't pick safeties that high. like in the top 5, 6, 8.
Yeah.
You normally. But Caleb Downs would be the guy I would like to see at 12. And you could talk me into there's just a few other names. I don't think Arvell Reese will be available. I think he'll be gone. So that leaves Sonny Styles, and maybe you could get Sonny Styles at 20. I don't know. You got David Bailey, the edge rusher that people talk about from Texas Tech, although he's been to 4 different schools, transferred, and I don't know if you're that high on him. But I want a defensive back or a linebacker in this pick. I don't know if Reuben Bain will fall. But if he does, I would take him. So who do you like at the 12th pick?
Yeah,
Nick and Luke?
I hope Caleb Downs. That's kind of the first name that immediately pops up. I fear, though, unfortunately, if it looks like he's starting to fall, if he gets to like 7, 8, 9, then I think someone's going to come up for him. So I don't think he's going to get to 12, unfortunately. Like, I think the Rams are a really, really, because they have I think it's the Falcons pick at 13. Like, they're picking right behind Dallas. So if Caleb Downs gets to like 9, 10, and we know the Rams are hyper aggressive when it comes to personnel decisions like that.
Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily in like trade, but just in terms of going to, get Devontae Adams, and they get aggressive when they want their guy. They drafted Blake Corum even though they had Williams. So I could see them doing something like that. So that makes me a little nervous because I don't think.
And Caleb Downs is the defensive back safety from Ohio State,
right?
Just if you didn't know.
Yeah, so that would be kind of my one. And then I said it last week. I really, really hope Arvell Reese somehow falls. I like him a lot. I agree with you. I don't think he's going to. But if you force me to choose, hey, give me 2 names that you would really love the Cowboys to get at 12. It would be Reese and Downs.
I also like Mansour Delane from LSU. I like him. Probably, I know there's a group of defensive backs,
right?
And I did look into this. You got Caleb Downs is far and away the best, I believe.
Yep.
Then you have Mansour Delane. Then you've got Jermon McCoy at Tennessee. And then, some people have Malik Muhammad from Texas up there and Avion Terrell, who is AJ Terrell's brother, by the way. So I don't know. And then Brandon Cisse from South Carolina. All these guys are kind of lumped together, and I think a lot of these guys you might be able to get at 20.
Right.
So if you go pass rusher at 12, and then defensive back at 20, if Downs is not there at 12, I could see that. Or linebacker at Sonny Styles at 12. And then get a defensive back at 20, or they could do what Jerry does a lot and trade down with that 20th pick. So there's a lot of options here, and I probably if they're at 20 and somebody wants to come up aggressively for somebody, then I don't mind trading back 7 or 8 picks and picking up a third or an early 4th, right? I think that that's what they'll probably get, but I think the if you force me to pick at 12, I would want Caleb Downs, and if he's not there, then I would take Mansour Delane or Sonny Styles. Those are my top 3 at 12.
Yeah,
and I'm just gathering information from all the experts out there, so that's my 3.
Yeah, I think it would be, for me, it would be Reese. And again, this is not assuming what's likely to not happen. So, again, I know Arvell Reese.
Well, I'm assuming it. I'm assuming Reese isn't going to be there and Bain's not going to be there. I'm assuming those 2 are gone. Because obviously I would take Reese over Styles.
Right.
And Bain, I would take him. So, but I think there's no chance. I mean, maybe Bain, because he could fall.
You just don't know. Yeah, he could.
Yeah. So if Caleb Downs is there, I want him.
Yeah, for sure. I would say Downs and Reese. I'm not assuming, but I will say where maybe we differ. It sounds like maybe we differ just a little bit. Is unless you can get one of those top 3 DBs, depending on what happened at the 12th pick. And I do last week we talked about it, and I didn't have the draft chart up. I do have it now. And for those that don't know, it's basically you assign a value to a pick. That value then represents, okay, how much would it cost? So the value for the Cowboys' 20th pick is $850. The number 1 pick in the second round is $580, right? So if I can go down from 20 to like 30 to the top 2 picks in the second round, and then pick up a third or a 4th rounder, I like that better, and I'm looking at it more from this team doesn't draft defense well. I need a lot of picks to hopefully hit on some of them. And I'm just being totally honest, right? Like they don't,
Yeah.
they haven't shown a consistency of being able to hit on their picks. So get as many as you possibly can. And if there's not an obvious one at 20, drop back. Hopefully one of those DBs slides into the back of the first, early second round, and you can get that plus pick up another player.
Yeah, I mean that would be ideal, but I don't know. We'll see. If you say how many first round talents are our first round grades are there in this draft, that's something that I'm still gathering information on because again, I'm not the expert. I just look at all the other experts and sort of kind of compare and contrast. But I don't know that you have 30 or 25 first round graded talents. So if you're at 12 and 20, you may be getting at the 20 the last of the first round graded people. And then again, what's the difference between a first and high second round, graded person? Maybe not enough to worry about. But if you ask me, if any of these guys are available at 20 that we're talking about, um, I'd want to get that, and I would want to get them. Now, if I get Caleb Downs with 12, I don't think I'll do another defensive back at 20. That doesn't make sense. But if Sonny Styles is still there at 20, and I get Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles, and I heard Jeff Kavanaugh talk about, oh, what if you get those two and Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator from Ohio State, bring him in as the defensive coordinator, and you got Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles. So shout out to Jeff Kavanaugh. But to me, I don't think you're going to get both of those. But I'd be in favor of a trade down if I got Caleb Downs or Bain or somebody like that at 12. I don't think Arvell Reese will be there. So I think you're going to probably look at Bailey, Styles, Bain, and Delane. Probably somebody, one of those four. But it's encouraging. So the chapter's closed on the Micah trade.
Yeah.
You got Quinnen Williams.
Yep.
Kenny Clark, and the 20th pick in the draft for Micah Parsons. How do you feel about it now?
I think hindsight is 2020, right? So I know that Micah tore his ACL. So as you know, and I hate that for him, but you're talking about not only did you get those three things, but you got that in addition to saving $12 million, and knock on wood, Kenny and Quinnen aren't injured and going into the 2026 season with a little bit of a question mark like Michael will. So I think I'm very, very happy with what they got in return. And, we had talked about if they traded him last draft season, what could you have gotten? Kind of hard to do that. You can't go backwards in time, but I will say I struggle to think that you would end up with hopefully 3 high impact players had you done it last off season. Now you may have gotten maybe a higher pick, and so thus a top talent on more of a contract control. Obviously we've got some money to play with these 3 guys, but I'm very happy with it. I think if they play their cards right, you're essentially coming out of this thing with 3, or if they trade back, maybe even 4 high impact players for the Micah trade, and I'm totally good with that.
And as Jerry said, you may have freed up money to keep Pickens,
right?
Because you traded Micah.
That's right.
So we don't know, right? It's like if Quinnen Williams and if they keep Kenny Clark, there was talk about them not keeping Kenny Clark, but I think they will. The way they're talking, it's like, hey, no, we like Quinnen and Kenny together with Osa. We'll see if they ultimately do that, but I'm quite happy with it the way it turned out. Getting Quinnen was big, right? And the 20th pick is higher than we thought it would be. We thought it would be somewhere in the late 20s, early 30s, right? But Green Bay, got banged up and roughed up, and that's what happens in the NFL. You just don't know. So the Cowboys draft at 12 and 20, and there'll be plenty of time to talk about that and dial it in as we research what the experts saying. I'm not a draft expert, Nick. I don't know if you watch film and grade talent and all that stuff. If you do, I'm wondering where you get all that time with everything else going on. But I just like gathering information from others and processing it and then giving my opinions on it.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is I will not go through like a old, Mel Kiper. I'm gonna create a binder of every single player in a report. But for the
Yeah.
Cowboys, I will look at the top 10 people, especially within the first 2 rounds that can be picked. And I will go watch some college tape just out of curiosity, just to see what these guys look like.
Yeah.
You made a really interesting comment, and I normally will look at this as we get closer. Matt Miller, who's an ESPN expert, draft expert, does his first round grades every year. It's one of the guys that I kind of follow. And just when you said it, it kind of clicked. So I looked to see if he had how many first round grades he has out as of right now. Um, in 2025, and I remember this article last year, but he illustrates it in this year's article. In 2025, he gave 13 first round grades. It was the lowest number he had ever given. As of right now, he has only 12 first round grades on the 2026 class, which will play a tremendous impact on what the Cowboys do, just to your point. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think this is the level of stuff that I will do. Like you, I will go see what all the experts are saying, grab a consensus, and then go do some independent kind of video searches out myself.
Well, beauty's in the eye of the beholder,
Yep.
right? Because we wouldn't have thought Booker would have been as good as he was this year either,
It's
where
true.
they drafted him. They reached a little bit and it paid off.
It's true.
Didn't work out so well with Guyton yet, but
Still time.
we'll see.
Yeah, it's early.
Plenty of time to talk draft, and we're just happy that the Giants won and they dropped to 5. We like that. The Giants doing Giants things. And then, the Eagles did lose, so their draft pick is a little higher than what we want. But we're happy about it. It's a good day for Cowboys fans.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a good
Yep.
weekend for Cowboy fans. So there's your Cowboys flavor on today's show. Let's talk about Nick's picks
Let's
next.
do it.
Maestro, how did Nick do this week? Play the music, Maestro. Okay, Nick, what do you have?
Yeah, man, it was a really good week again. We've had a really good season, 32-15 to date. It's been a great run.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
32 wins, 15 losses, and a lot of deposits.
a lot of deposits. That's true. We're having some McDonald's every night this week. Gonna go and splurge.
So like Chad Johnson.
Just like Chad Johnson, hit some Ocho Cinco. My rooms aren't all white though, as we saw earlier. What a weirdo. So
I mean, your room is literally white behind you.
No, I got stuff up, man. His was just white. So I got 3-0 so far. 3-0. We still got the Houston and Pittsburgh game that's being played. So we'll have to wait and see what that pans out. But the first 3 games that we picked were all correct. You mentioned earlier that during our picks I picked the Eagles, and that was correct. I picked the Eagles to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was actually doing Nick's picks, I had picked San Francisco to cover 4.5. And so obviously with San Francisco winning outright, they covered.
Well,
so
you might be ticking off Howie Roseman with that. So you might be careful, man. Your boy crush, your man crush, might get upset with you.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to piss off Howie, because that dude deserves nothing but admiration for what the job he continues to do in Philly. But be that as it may, that moves us up to 35-15, pending the outcome of the Monday night game. Really looking forward to that one too, by the way. But I got a Pittsburgh +3, just as a reminder, Pittsburgh +3 in the Monday nighter. So as we look at next week, we've got 3 games on schedule. All 3 games have been given spreads. And actually, now that I'm just kind of pulling it up, they've actually given the spread for both the potential outcomes of Houston v. New England or Pittsburgh v. New England. So I have the spreads for both games. So we'll go ahead and pick all 4 of them. So let's start with with kind of, for me, the easy one. San Francisco opens as a 7.5-point dog at Seattle. Now, I am picking Seattle to win that game, but 7.5 points, that is a lot. I do not think Kittle's is worth a touchdown or more, and that's especially if they get Pearsall back. Trent Williams looked good. Robinson had a little breakout. So I think San Francisco is just too well coached in a playoff game to give them 7.5 points against a division team. Like that's way too much.
Well,
So
Kittle
I'll take
being out was big, but don't forget Tonjes did well earlier when he replaced Kittle. So I know he's not
100%.
George Kittle, but shouldn't be that dramatic of a fall off.
And and I mean, look, I will say normally these lines end up being much closer than you might think at first glance, but I agree with you completely. This feels like too much. So I'll go San Francisco plus 7.5. The next game is Pittsburgh, Buffalo and Denver in Denver. It's a pick'em right now. Right now it's a pick'em game, which, I think Denver might feel a little disrespected by that. There's a little disrespect in that. But this is, I would pick Buffalo, and right now I would just be picking Buffalo straight up on the money line to win the game. I do think it's a close game. I think it's going to be, very, very kind of close throughout. But I'll take Buffalo. The Chicago Bears are a 3.5-point home dog. So the Rams getting a lot of love here, and I think rightfully so. I think what Chicago's done all year long is be able to come from behind. If they get down to the Rams, McVay is not going to take his foot off the throat. He is not going to let up. He's not going to play
Well, they
safe.
did in Carolina. They let Carolina back in the game.
I think from my perspective, honestly, because the game script had been clearly not to be a ball running dominant game plan, which makes sense against that front for Carolina. Like I'm saying now, McVay just stuck with the game plan. I think he just carried it throughout. He said, we're not going to go game script, where maybe they should have. In this case, maybe you let Carolina back in it by not altering a little bit and going more run heavy. I think against Chicago, because of how aggressive Chicago can be, that would actually help them in this case.
Well, I think he found it in the fourth quarter where he went to the 13 personnel, brought the 3 tight ends in, and they started pounding the ball, and that really helped against Carolina. Yep.
100%. Yeah. So I think, they'll tell you every playoff run's different. So he's a smart coach. He'll be able to adapt on the fly. I think Devontae and Puka, man, what a dangerous combo. So I'll go Rams minus 3.5. And then because I have Pittsburgh beating the Texans, I'm going to pick the game as if Pittsburgh wins.
Okay.
But regardless, I would be taking the Patriots. Now, I will say the spread for Pittsburgh, New England is 6. That's too much for me. Because again, I think crafty veteran DK coming back, good defense in Pittsburgh. But regardless, I would be taking the Patriots over the Steelers
to cover
in that game on the money line. So here's your
just
4
the money line.
Just the money line, yeah. Because I think, again, not knowing who they're playing and knowing that I'm going to pick the Patriots no matter what, as of right now, I would just say take the Patriots in the money line. But so here's your recap: 49ers plus 7.5, Buffalo on the money line, the Rams to cover 3.5, and the Patriots on the money line pending the Monday night game.
Awesome. Now we'll see if the hot streak continues and see if those. I think we're going to have to start putting some money on these because you're doing so well. That'll probably be the curse of Nick's picks. If I start betting on them, you're doomed, buddy.
Yeah, don't do that, please.
Maybe Luke can. Maybe Luke can start wagering some money and getting some moral deposits in that bank.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I don't think my wife would like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get addicted to it.
You probably would. I would see that. So there you have it. That's Nick's picks for this week. Remember, it's hypothetical only. It's for entertainment purposes only. So, if you have an issue with gambling, don't blame Nick. All right. Thank you very much. Nick's picks for the week. Now, look, I've got to get something off my chest, and normally it's what's killing Jeff, but we haven't done that in a few weeks. But this is really, really, really killing me. I believe that the Mavericks have a Luka Dončić curse.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to the Red Sox and Babe Ruth. I think that we are just on the beginning stages of this Luka Dončić curse. Now, let's think back. It happened like a thief in the night. Luke texted me. I was like, nah, quit playing, man. You're lying. He didn't trade no Luka for AD. No, we did, man. And then I was like, okay, I could get behind trading Luka because, guys, he's annoying to watch. He complains so much. He's just a little bit.
I miss it. I don't care.
Okay. Well, but we got fat Luka. They got skinny Luka. And so look, here's the thing. Let's look at everything that's transpired since the Luka trade. And this is a curse, man. I believe it. It's Kyrie got hurt. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We lost him.
Yes.
We didn't even get. Anthony Davis got hurt immediately, by the way.
Yep.
First game, he first joined or whatever.
So we got hurt. Kyrie got hurt. Then all year this year, I think Anthony Davis has played 29 of 80 possible games since becoming a Maverick.
Yikes.
Kyrie has been out this entire year rehabbing. We've lost Derek Lively for the year to injury, who was supposed to be a big progressing point, right? And then we have Gafford, who's in and out of the lineup all the time, right? PJ Washington gets dinged up a lot. The only saving grace that makes me believe that there's not a curse, and maybe this was unofficially part of the Luka deal, is the rise of Cooper Flag. That makes me ponder a little bit, is this really a curse? Because we do have that saving grace. Now, with that being said, this Anthony Davis injury, did you see how this happened?
Oh yeah, I saw it. The little in between him and Markkanen, it looked like nothing happened. His hand got stuck
Like going
between their
out of bounds
bodies.
to get the ball to throw a ball in,
Right.
right?
Bro is made of paper mache, dude.
Yeah.
Paper mache. He's
Well,
paper mache Anthony Davis.
To me, it's unbelievable. The timing couldn't be worse.
Yeah.
Because just as things heat up about, oh, there's this team that wants Anthony Davis,
Yep.
and there's this team that wants Anthony Davis, and man, we might get into a little bit of a bidding war, and this might work out well for the Mavericks. And the other thing that's not part of the curse is Nico getting fired. I guess that's a positive. So it's 50-50 where this can go. Is this a curse, or do we break the curse? I'm kind of in between, but I'm feeling really down about this because it's the absolute worst time for Anthony Davis to do one of his ridiculous injuries. Now, TV didn't fall on his head, but it's just as ridiculous. I mean, you got injured walking out of bounds to get the ball to throw it in. Is that not what happened? He's walking.
I think he heard it before that.
Yeah, it wasn't quite. So like really what happened was
he heard it guarding.
Markkanen. So Markkanen was driving baseline. AD goes to step in front of him. His hand literally gets stuck between both of their bodies. Markkanen's
like
elbow,
in his armpit or something.
Yeah, Markkanen's elbow like grazes it. I mean, it looks so awkward. Like it looks like nothing happens, and he immediately like looks at his hand, starts writhing in pain. And
as he's walking out of bounds.
As he's walking out of
right?
bounds, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it comes out that he tore ligaments in his hand, which is like how? Like how does that happen in that spot?
There's a secret or a conspiracy theory saying he doesn't want to leave Dallas.
Right.
And so he's sabotaging his ability to be traded. I don't know if that's true because, I heard his agent say, well, if he gets traded, he wants a 2-year something,
extension,
45 million, whatever,
yeah,
80 million, whatever it was.
He's always hurt. Nobody's giving him that.
I know, but this is the problem now. So there's no way they're going to get any sort of good return for Anthony Davis now. And there's no way it's going to happen this year. It's going to have to be in the offseason, if at all. And it's just the most rotten luck of anybody because, I wonder if you have to play him so he can build up his value again. But the risk of playing him is he does do goofy stuff like this and he gets injured when no one even knows what's happening.
No, this is what we need to do. Have you ever seen Rebound? When they stick the big guy, just stand there and put your arms up and act tough.
Sledgehammer.
Act
the sledgehammer,
tough.
right?
Bring it in the sledgehammer.
Yeah, I wish we'd have done that because he is made, of paper mache. And listen,
I'd rather have the kid from Rebound than Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Well, you're taking a little too far, but I get the point. The point is, you've screwed the Mavericks now.
Yeah,
and Anthony Davis in the way of Cooper Flag really blossoming with this on again, off again type situation. I don't know. I'm wondering, do you guys feel like this is a Luka Dončić curse or the beginnings of a Luka Dončić curse on the likes of a Babe Ruth type curse?
I actually do. And you mentioned, I do. And you mentioned getting, what makes you feel like it isn't is Cooper Flag. Don't let Red Sox fans go through that history of all the great players that they had go through Boston and just all kinds of wild stuff happened to them on their ascension through Boston during that time. So I do think it's a little bit of a curse. Now, curse by the way of will it be 86 years until the Mavericks are relevant again in terms of contending for titles? Like, no, that's in the NBA. The Mavericks are one of the top 10 to 12 franchises. They're not. It's almost not possible for them to be that bad that regularly. But I will say, just to your point about the Anthony Davis trade, I think you're right. I think you got into a little bit of a point where all these teams, especially in the East, because the East is so wide open, where you were going to get into a bidding war. I really firmly believe,
right.
whether it was Detroit, Atlanta, Boston, even, like, you had teams that were like, we're an Anthony Davis away from making the NBA Finals in the East. And that makes perfect sense for what Anthony Davis is at the top. With this latest injury, you look at, he's a $54 million cap hit the rest of this year, $58 million next year, and he's got a player option for $62 million in 27-28. That means he is, like you were talking about, if he does get traded, or even with the Mavericks, at some point they're gonna have to start talking extension, because you're not taking a $62 million cap hit for a 34-year-old Anthony Davis. Like, there's no shot of that happening. Right. So for Dallas, that kind of makes sense. Let's spread that out, give an extension. I know they would rather trade him, but with all these injuries, and like you just said, 29 out of 80 games, who's trading for, 35% of my cap hit next year, and then knowing I've got to give an extension for the following two?
Nico.
Unfortunately, no one else has hired Nico yet. So it looks like it's going to be harder and harder for Dallas to get off of AD, and that is very curse-worthy if you're a Mavericks fan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like we get to the point where, this could actually work out in our 100%. Favor if you add Cooper Flag with, they're talking about, how do you say his name?
Rashashire.
Rashashire or Rashache, whatever.
Yep.
And some pick
Picks,
and,
yep.
And maybe Tingus Pingus coming back to the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Porzingis.
Yeah.
Just for the expiring contract. Right. And so
he's always hurt too, though. We don't want him.
But the expiring contract is really valuable, though. Yeah, very valuable.
Yeah. But now it's all for naught, because Anthony Davis is, hurt again.
Yep.
And how do you tear ligaments doing that? To me, so I'm a 53-year-old man, and I've never tore ligaments, and I've done a lot of dumb things. I play pickup basketball recklessly, and I've never done any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, how could a well-trained athlete of his stature and the amount of time and money he can spend on preparing his body for all this stuff, how could all this crap happen to him?
So unlucky,
it's just almost like, it's ridiculous.
It's a Luka curse.
And playing with LeBron, like, how did he not learn anything? Like, it literally makes me think of.
It's a great point.
It makes me think of Impractical Jokers when Joe's like, I tore my flub or something.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, Anthony Davis would tear his flub. Oh, Anthony Davis tore his flub. He's out 6 weeks. Like, bro, I mean, I think it just feels like, hey, Anthony Davis, we'll do this trade with you, Nico, but we'll give you the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
But Anthony Davis can only play 20 games the rest of his career with the Mavericks.
And to be honest with you, this will be the lowest amount of games Anthony Davis has played in a season. And that's shocking.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just awful timing. And the only thing that makes me somewhat thrilled is the Lakers aren't as good as they thought they were going to be.
No.
And there's some turmoil going on there. And the rise of Cooper Flag has me feeling hopeful. So if something happens to Cooper, then I'll know it's a curse.
Right.
But I'm praying that it's not. And I'm praying that this is just a mistake by a outsider named Nico, who came in, swooped in, did something stupid, and moved on, and we won't have to suffer anymore for it, right?
Bro, he was working for the Lakers this whole time.
Yep.
I mean,
it's a plant.
Yeah.
I mean, bro.
So I'm worried. I'm concerned. I don't want this to be a Luka Dončić curse the size of Babe Ruth. So let's hope some good things happen. Let's hope Kyrie comes back. Even if he does this year, I mean, what's the point? Maybe we should just go team tank and get a really good draft pick this year.
Tank.
Good draft.
And,
good draft class.
And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's really what's killing me. And I wanted to add a little Mavs talk, because they keep losing close games. Now, not to this last one. The Bulls blew them out. But they've played more clutch games and lost more close games than any team in the league, which means they just don't know how to win.
Right.
They don't have good team chemistry. And I was looking forward to getting Anthony Davis moved on and the pieces come in so they could start to gel this year and hit the ground running next year. But it doesn't look like that. So maybe we can trade Gafford and Klay Thompson. Maybe we can get a few pieces or picks to put in the ammunition for next year. I don't want to trade Christie. I like Christie. I'll trade Gafford. I'll trade PJ if we have to. Najee maybe. I want one of those to stay.
Yeah.
Najee is the cheaper version, but PJ signed longer term, so imagine PJ will be the one that stays, and Najee might be the one that moves. He could help somebody. I'm okay with trading everybody that's not named Cooper Flag and Max Christie.
Yeah.
And Kyrie Irving.
And of course, Kyrie, I would not trade him. But everybody else, let's hopefully we can move and make some pieces fit here and get Clay on a contender where maybe he can go help them win a championship. But I'm just bummed because I felt like the sun was coming out on the Mavericks, and then boom, here comes that Luka Dončić curse. So
I think Clay should just go back to Golden State and just finish his career there.
Might happen, honestly.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool. It might, honestly.
Could.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, could. I think the only thing. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I got a filter installed. So
yeah,
that's it for this show, guys. Now
Yeah.
look, we had a lot to talk about, and I'm excited. I hope Indiana brings home the Natty. Next time we talk to you, the game still won't have happened because we'll record next Sunday, but we'll know who's alive still in the NFL. But look, thank you for being a part of this show. I hope you have a fantastic week. We always appreciate the time you spend with the Dead Jeff Show. Please like, subscribe, comment, help the show out, help us break the algorithm. You know, these guys, they want us to pay them money for us to succeed, which I guess that's fair. We're using the platform, but help us out. Help us break those algorithms. Thank you for being a part of this one. And until next time, peace.